here in thanks topic, but we have to move to the next topic, which is also very interesting and got a lot of attention recently. Um, so the next presenter is Dr. Nguyen Ngoc Anh, who is Chief Economist of Deposen. He will talk about FDI's spillover and industrial upgrading, a new agenda. Ngoc Anh, as the floor is yours.
Okay. Hi, Ngoc Anh. Do you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So maybe I say good night. It's almost midnight. It's almost midnight here in Vietnam, and as scheduled, I have only 5 minutes for my presentation, and so I will try to keep my time. So basically, we are a little bit tired here, so but yeah, please bear with us. I'd like to thank you, Ngoc Anh, for your great initiative, and I see a lot of familiar face of old friend Eddie, Xuân Thành, and other friends. So it's a great privilege to participate in this conference. And basically, I'd like to share with you some of my ongoing research. And our research is funded by the UNDP, and we carry out this research with a number of colleagues from the Hanoi Foreign Trade Universities. So our research question is related. My thoughts relate back a little bit to the previous, comment and in the previous sections by Mr. By Dr. Chen Nguyen. That is, we during the last few years, we've been observing two very important trends for Vietnam. That is, Vietnam has been increasingly participated in the global production network with the arrival of large multinational enterprises. And a lot of FDI, large flow of FDI coming into Vietnam. You can see Intel, you can see Samsung. And at the same time, you can see that Vietnam also have deeper integration, both globally and regionally. And as my colleague here, Mr. Thien, pointed out, that after the WTO acceptance, Vietnam economy has experienced a kind of recession. And he's pointed out that because Vietnam has been caught unprepared for the deeper integration in the global game. And at the moment, Vietnam is making a number of much deeper and more significant commitment under the bilateral free trade agreement with EU, with the ASEAN Economic Committee, with the TPP. And Mr. Thien asked the question whether Vietnam is now weak, and the question that facing Vietnam is becoming more serious. So that's it, the overall trend for our analysis, analysis. And we would like to ask a question why, and this has been asked in the public policy debate, why Vietnamese firm cannot be part of the value chains. Why can't Vietnamese local firm cannot be a supplier to the FDI firms? And FDI is not something recent event that we have been trying to liberalize the FDI regime for over 25 years. And somehow we, the overall assessment is that we are still not very happy with, because with some people can call it this kind of enclave economy. That is, the FDI sectors has benefited with a lot, has been given a lot of benefit, but at the same time, there's very small or little linkages with the rest of the economy. And now with the increased participation in the global production network with the large M&E, so the question would be: can this time be different? What can Vietnam do so that we can be part of the new game? That in the past 20 years, Vietnam has been liberalizing the investment regime, but most of the investment in Vietnam are small scales. But in the last few years, 4 or 5 years, we can see a lot big, global player coming into Vietnam. So we've been using a framework which is called rent management framework, and our hypothesis is that because any policy change will create some kind of rent or some kind of incentive for different players. So in our research, we instead of looking at the big picture, instead of analyzing data, we going out as a as an entrepreneur, the firm. So what are their problems? So, and since we haven't done with our research yet, but we managed to coming up with some initial analysis. That is that and that has implication for the institutional reform in Vietnam. That is my first assessment is that the incentive system in Vietnam is wrong. We don't have the right incentive system in place to direct different players doing the thing that our policy would like them to do. For example, in the last few years, Xuân Thành, the speaker before me, has been indicating some government policy and some intervention that create incentive, and that has led to short-term speculation by various players. SOE, private sector, they are going for after short-term speculation. But let's look at the question. We would like to look at, that is, for example, at the FDI player. At the moment, for example, we take Samsung as a very big investor in Vietnam. We've been looking at the investment license. We're looking at the conducting the interview with a number of suppliers to them, and we at the moment we would like to see the linkages between the Samsung and the local firm. But it seems that the policies has been trying to persuade Samsung to coming into Vietnam, but they give no incentive, or there's no incentive for Samsung to shake hand or to link with the local firms, even though there has been some kind of policy discussion. But when we look into substantive issues, there's no real incentive for Samsung to work with the local firm. And at the same time, we look from the point of view of the SME player or the local firm. To be part of the global production network is a tough game, because you have to in that game you have to meet the stand. You have to be competitive at the price, at the quality. You have to deliver on time. But at the same time, the margin in that, because you compete internationally, so the margin is very low. And sometimes taking up a additional task, I mean, upgrading in the value chain involve a lot of risk. For example, we've been talking with a number of textile firms. For example, Vinatex. Vinatex has an international partner. They would like Vinatex to take up some of the tasks. For example, the manage from the take some. For example, they would like Vinatex to taking care of the procurement. But taking care of procurement does not mean you have to does not mean you have to have the staff to arrange the procurement, but the increased risk involved because of the delivery. You have to make sure, so a lot of risk involved in the delivery of the risk have been shifting from the contracting and processing only, from you doing more tasks. So basically, you want to get into the network, and if you want to get within the network, you have to take up more risk. But if you want to encourage firms to take more risk, there should be some incentive for them to do so. But at the moment, there's no specific policy to encourage and help the local firm to deal with the increased risk when they are upgrading in the industrial, in the global chains. And also, that's another important player within the spillover game from FDI to the local firm. That is the policymakers. At the moment, the FDI regime in Vietnam is decentralized, and the decentralizations has been led into the competition between the provinces. That has been leading to the race to the bottom, and that hasn't benefit the local economy. And so my initial assessment is that the incentive system is not the right system is not in the place yet, even though we had the right policies, right? And we also coming up with a kind of another assessment, that is in order to develop the linkages between the local firm and the FDI firm. We should design some nuanced sector-specific policy rather than cost-cutting policy like trade reform. That's important, but it's just the necessary condition. It's not the sufficient one. So, for example, if you look at the case of China, there, we can learn a lot from them. For example, in Suzhou and in Shenzhen, and these two provinces adopted two different strategies to attract the electronic sectors. In Suzhou, they target and try to attract the large firm, just like Vietnam. We would like to Intel coming in, Samsung coming in. So the people in Suzhou, the government in Suzhou, doing exactly what we are doing now. Exactly what we are doing now. So, and they succeeded in attracting the large multinational firm into Vietnam. But they have the problem that is they create something called the capacity gap, because the local capacity is not there. So the multinational firm will have the strategy called the group offshoring. So instead of working with the local firm, they bring the whole value chain into the countries. So it can't and in the government in Shenzhen doing something different. They work with the small SME electronic sectors, and somehow the interaction between the small firm in Shenzhen with the small firm in international small firm. So that creates building up the capacity for the sector. So my point is that the opportunities for Vietnam is there, and we manage to get the large player like Samsung and Intel into Vietnam. But the risk is also big there. That is, and we also see the risk. That is the capacity gap between the multinational firm and the local firm. And we also already observe the group offshoring strategy by Samsung. So the risk is there. So we haven't been able to develop specific policy or recommendation yet. So basically, I would like to share with you some of my research questions and some of the initial findings. And any comment or policy suggestion from the audience is more than welcome. So I think I have taken up more than 5 minutes. Sorry.
Thank you. Quick comment, questions?
Okay.
Yes, hi. Please make it very short.
Very short, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Anh Ngoc Anh, Dr. Ngoc Anh, for very interesting presentation. I learned a lot. Yeah. So, just my quick question is that it seems to me that there is a lot of like money, or like basically wealth. I mean, circulating in Vietnam now, among Vietnamese people, right, so to speak. And perhaps like one indicator of that is that we see all the real estate asset bubbles. So so it seems to me that if we can make use, I mean, of that kind of funding, of that kind of domestic funding, then then perhaps that can create it can there is a lot of potential there, basically to stimulate the economy. So how do you think about that, in comparison, with FDI investment? Thank you.
Any other quick questions?
Now, can you summarize that for us? We couldn't hear very clearly.
Okay. Can you comment closer to this microphone?
Okay. Hi. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Better now.
Okay, good. Thank you, Dr. Ngoc Anh, for a very interesting presentation. My question is that for it seems to me that there is now a lot of funding or like wealth circulating around among Vietnamese people in the economy, and one perhaps like one clear very clear indicator of that is that we see a lot of investment into the real estate, bubbles, right, so to speak, in recent years. So I just wonder, in comparison, with the FDI environment, should we also think about, that kind of domestic funding and what kind of policies or what kind of, incentives that we should use or we should have, to make use, of that kind of funding, for better growth. Thank you.
Nguyen, would you like to respond to that?
Thank you, Anh, for your very interesting, I think, quite tough questions. I must admit that my knowledge about regulating the financial wealth, circulating the economy, and how to make that, go into the to the productive sectors is I haven't thought much about this, but I mean that but I think the people may respond to the market signals. So at the moment, there's a lot of opportunities out there in the real estate and the finance sector, and the people will respond to that. So if we can somehow, the government has somehow through its policy interventions, make the the manufacturing sectors more attractive, or we could compensate for the risk involved, then maybe we can divert some of the fund or wealth circulating in the financial and real estate into the production of real sectors. Any comment from the audience will be more than welcome.
I think this is a great presentation. This is, I think there's a lot of questions. Even for me, I have a number of questions I would like to talk with you. But given the time, I think we should move on. I would like to propose that since I'm a great timekeeper, we like 45 minutes behind schedule. So I would like to propose. First, I would like to thank Ngoc Anh and everyone in Vietnam for staying up to this hour. This is right midnight now, and we really appreciate you stay up and share your insights and analysis with us. And I would like to propose that we here at Harvard we take 10 minutes to get the food in the next room, bring in, and then we have a presentation and discussion over lunch. And people in Vietnam, please feel free to leave because it's midnight and I don't want to get complaints from your staff. And so yeah, thank you very much over there. And please take 10 minutes break. Thank you, everyone. Oh, you don't. Already bad.